You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
Well, it's Monday, folks. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is Monday. The week is starting, and folks, the media is right out the gate carrying the water of all of the official lies and propaganda. Now, thank goodness you're here at the Prepared Mind, because you're going to get a little more. Well, you're going to get a lot more than what the mainstream media is going to tell you. Now, the MSM, which includes NBC, CNN, Fox, everybody, they're going to carry the story that Secretary of State Blinken and his declaration that the Russian operations have failed. Well, yeah, it's failed. And they're also going to, folks, they're also stating that diplomats are going to return to Ukraine. Now, let's get into this a little bit. We got a lot of stuff to unpack from over the weekend. I want to get it into this video, all the Ukraine-Russia news as far as this one section of HTF is concerned. Let's get it all out on the table. Number one, I strongly doubt Blinken went into Ukraine. There is no way they would. Now, Boris Johnson claims to have gone into Ukraine, but anyone, I think, claiming they are is BS. DC politicians are literal cowards. They're literally cowards, folks. And Zelensky, in my opinion, left Ukraine, right, and is in Poland, where they set up a stage meeting and a photo op so they can make these proclamations that Russia failed. If Russia failed, folks, and they believe it and it's true, Blinken would go into Ukraine and stand outside in front of some monument and claim victory. And I'm sure they're going to send American envoys, diplomats, embassy workers. I'm sure they wouldn't mind sending them into Ukraine, because then they become potential victims for the cause. They become potential martyrs for the U.S.-NATO cause. Don't discount that as a possibility. Now, claiming Russia has failed makes me ask some questions. Maybe you should too ask lots of questions. Why all the crying and sniveling by Zelensky in the last few weeks and even months? Why is he crying and sniveling for help and accusing NATO and everyone else that they haven't done their job of protecting that they should have? Right? They should, of course, be the protective bully against Russia in defense of Zelensky. If Russia is failing, has failed, why is Zelensky whining and sniveling to anybody that'll listen? Are we to believe, folks, that the Ukrainian military, the Azov battalion, they're hiding in tunnels underground? That's a successful military strategy against the Russians? Claiming that the Russians have suffered losses and defeats. You bet they have. I'm sure people have died in this. I'm sure Russia has lost equipment, valuable personnel, but to claim that they're inadequately supplied, that they're undertrained or ill-trained, is to me rather farcical, considering they are occupying Ukraine territory. Now, I know wars take a long time and sides get pushed back and forth, but where is all the footage that mainstream media could show, claiming, right, as supplemental evidence, if you will, that Ukraine is kicking some ass? They really can't. These are proclamations. They're designed as propaganda pieces to keep us in support of what they're doing. See, no one wants to support a losing war. No one wants to announce that, oh, we got our asses kicked again. Oh, our little allies there are getting kicked again. Oh, the U.S. and NATO can't go into Ukraine because we're afraid of Russia. They can't announce that. That's bad propaganda, right? So they won't announce that. And we can't trust their propaganda anyways, because they lied and they're lying now and they've lied then. To make the point, intelligence officials claimed that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian information or disinformation. So they lied back then. What makes us think they're not lying now? Intelligence officials will lie about anything. Now, of course, lying about Hunter's laptop is not having anything to do with the Russian war. But the same people that lied about Hunter's laptop, intel officials, are saying now they have to censor and silence you and me to protect us from Russian disinformation. And I am certain, folks, that Russia is lying also. It's just, where are the troops? Where are the tanks? Where are the helicopters? Where is the military? Who is where in the country of Ukraine, and who is doing what? We're being lied to by both sides, but where are the action? Where's the front lines? That will tell us who is doing what in this war. We can't trust government propaganda, folks. They lie. What is going on? It would be great if we had independent reporters, like that guy in Ukraine who was arrested and had his equipment stolen, because we can't have, folks, other information getting out. Can't have that, can we? Oh, but we're going to, folks. We're going to continue getting lies. So let me cover this. Janet Yellen, Secretary of the Treasury for the United States government. She is cautioning, folks. She is warning the European Union about banning Russian oil. And that doing that is going to create more harm than good. This is beyond hypocrisy, folks. This is beyond stupidity. But that's not being widely reported, that she's cautioning everyone, right? To punish Russia to the degree that they would have, and then say, please, Mr. Putin, we still want your oil and your gas, as they use governments, NATO, European Union, United States, as in this Blinken report, this Blinken propaganda, and say, we're kicking the stuffings out of Russia. Russia's evil. We need to destroy Russia. And then turning around and going, hey, we said that on the news, Putin, but we really need your oil, right? Yellen's advice is blatant admission that Europe is naked, powerless, and weak. It is tacit admission that Russia is in the driver's seat and controls. And Putin, folks, is 100% aware. And he can be either merciful or merciless. In either case, he can be fully justified. In other words, he's in the driver's seat on this. Are we to believe that Putin is not in the driver's seat as far as the war on the ground in Russia? As he strikes into Western Ukraine and strikes supply lines. Meanwhile, folks, I know equipment is being, or rather businesses, private corporations, businesses are manufacturing in Ukraine. Putin is not striking at the infrastructure and the manufacturing and economic capabilities of Ukraine. He's interested in removing just the military. Interestingly, the Azov battalion and other Ukraine units are hiding behind civilians. They're hiding in literal tunnels and holes. They're doing all they can to stall and prolong this war instead of giving up, instead of letting the Ukrainian people return to a not war-torn economy, not a complete debacle, right? Putin's aware of all this, folks. Now, this is a what if. If I were Putin for a day, folks, I would require every single head of state and every parliamentary leader to stand in front of a microphone and admit they were wrong to condemn Putin and Russia, and that they were participating in the corruption. They were participating in the corruption and plunder of Ukraine through direct dealings and as complicit bystanders before I give them another drop of oil. And then, and only then, would I sell them at 150%, 150%, maybe 200% of market value, conditional upon a promise to remove all sanctions on banking, private individuals, the Russian nation, and everyone else, and promise never to take such actions against Russia over defending its territorial existence and enforcing a treaty that Ukraine was a party to, which is the case. In this case, Zelensky was pushing for NATO admission And NATO was reneging on its agreement to not expand into former Soviet states. I would make them admit all of that and promise never to do it again, and to remove all sanctions, and to restore and return all property, both real estate and things like yachts, and leave the Russian people out of this. This is a fight between the governments. I would make them admit to and agree to and restore all that before I gave him another drop of oil. You see, he could do that if he wanted. And he just might. And Janet Yellen, Secretary of the Treasury, is letting it be known. This war is economic, it's financial, it's monetary, it's military. It's psychological war. It is a media war, folks. Now, I am not pro-Russian, I'm pro-freedom. I know that the United States, that NATO, that England is fighting a nasty war, and that the mainstream media is there to report it, to make it look good, to get support for this, right? And I know also, and I have no doubts, folks, that they're attacking Russia. There was a fire at a space facility. There's another fire. There's now a third fire, folks. A fuel depot, 2 huge explosions. There's now a pattern of these incidents, folks. Let's see, we had a ship was hit and sunk, supposedly, or they had munitions explode. We had fires breaking out now, fuel depot, another one, folks. I do doubt the grand mal claims of Secretary of Defense Lloyd A-hole Austin and butt scarf Blinken. I don't rule out their ability and their desire to strike Russia with any and all efforts everywhere and anywhere they can across the border inside Russia. I have no doubts, folks. There is footage in social media of this explosion, right? And it's fueling speculation that Ukrainian missile strikes could have caused this newest current fire at a fuel depot inside Russia. Or it could be sabotage. Right? We could have ground units in there sabotaging things. You know, are these strange accidents, or are these the efforts of the enemy? These mystery fires, these mystery explosions, I have no doubt it is counter military moves by Ukraine and others working inside Russia. The possibility, of course, also of directed energy weapons and other high-tech stuff the U.S. has. I don't doubt the United States government and military has high-tech, super-secret weapons. I don't doubt that. We know that Russia has some very high-tech, super-secret weapons, and they've been letting the world know they have some of them. They've been showing some of them, like the hypersonic missiles, another ICBM test the other day. They also have massive electronic warfare that is beyond apparently the capacity of the U.S. to repel. We're going to have this back and forth. The risk we have, folks, is widespread, increased shit hitting the fan that civilians, you and I, are going to have to deal with. Are you prepared? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. It's Monday. It's on. Go to the club to get what you need, and chance favors the prepared mind. Aren't you glad you are a prepper?